Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Lee. I'm a professional jazz and blues singer. I'm based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this is our first version, our first show of a concept that's called Creative Space. As I sing, I get to see so many wonderful spaces and so many wonderful creative people. And what I wanted to do is to shine a light on these places and these people. And so I'm getting ready to sing at a wonderful space in Pittsburgh's Lawrenceville community, and it's called the Christine Frechard Gallery. It's right on Butler Street, and you're going to hear a lot about it today. This is our first creative space. There's a beautiful community in Pittsburgh called Lawrenceville. And where we are today is a very creative space within Lawrenceville's community. It's called the Christine Frechard Gallery. So we're going to explore this creative space as I get ready to sing a jazz and blues concert here on March 9th. And I'd like to kind of introduce the two beautiful ladies who are responsible for the Christine Frechard Gallery. Now, I have known Christine in a past life when she had a gallery in Squirrel Hill. And I thought she might be leaving us. Yes, I thought she might be leaving to go back to France.
I thought so too.
Oh, and then I saw her and she said, I didn't leave. I have a new creative space. So tell us, Christine, about how you met Judy. Tell us about your story about not leaving Pittsburgh quite yet.
So that was back last year in April. And I did all the renewal of the passport. I had a job from the French government. I was on my way back. The last winter was hitting me so hard, I say no more. I'm going home. And then all my family is there. And at time, yeah, I do miss my country and my family. So all done deal. I start, almost packing, April 2018. And then I heard that a lady was looking for a Gary honor. And I was like, going with conviction, but also hoping nothing will happen. I was kind of apprehensive. I could feel something, but I was like, please don't commit to anything. So when I came to that space, it was empty, and it was just beautiful. And Judy was there, so peaceful, so humble. And then we sat. And she told me about her vision. She said, I am looking for someone to run that space. I say, no, Judy, I am going home. I'm tired of the roller coaster of being a Gary honor. Sometimes you sell a lot, sometimes you sell less. Meanwhile, you compensate with your personal money. And I was just dreaming at that time to have a steady salary and be back in the comfort zone. And then she listened to me. She said, no, you can't go. You're not going anywhere. This is your space. You have to stay here. I was like, wow, this is surreal.
So you met. You saw the space in Lawrenceville, 26 Butler Street, main strip of Lawrenceville, coming on down that beautiful road.
Right
she
after
was trying
the
to convince you to stay. Yes?
And I stay on my position, no, I'm going home. And then
how did she change your mind?
She said, no, this is your space. You have to stay here. This is your gallery. I was like, wow. But Judy and I, we have a connection that it's also spiritual.
Yeah.
When I came here, I was like, wow, I could feel the energy. I love the space. And right away, I saw the art on the wall and the possibility to have duo exhibition of an international artist, a local artist. I saw all the possibility coming up, and I don't know, she's a very intuitive person too.
Well, I think that Pittsburgh's been waiting for a gallery that can display international art as well as local art. And for me, that was the goal all along. And I knew Christine had the skill set to bring together not just local artists, but also international artists. And we've already been, interviewed by the press in Puerto Rico, and we've had art from all over the world. We opened up with Cuban artwork, and it's just been flowing since then. And the space, besides being beautiful, is really the most beautiful artwork in Pittsburgh at this point, and it's because of her skill set. So I feel fortunate that we got to keep Christine here, and I think Christine feels fortunate that she has the space that she's always deserved.
I think it's almost like if you believe in God, you know, I was grabbed by the back of my neck, like, you think you're done with Pittsburgh? No, you're staying a little bit longer.
Staying right here.
Then of course, you know, one of the one of the reasons why also I could stay is that Judy came up with a very nice proposal, you know, to help me to start. So that was very nice of her.
Yes.
So we're sort of starting this venture together on some level. I think it's a spiritual quest, and it's all for art. It's all for art.
So let's talk about the art that will be in the gallery in March. Just tell everybody a little overview of that, and we'll talk about some of the other things that you may present other than just visual art here at the gallery.
It's called Clash. Why? Because, you know, obviously it's two completely different style of abstract painter, a colorist, Annette Poitot, and Cathy Koenig, who does hyper-realistic work that some people commented it looks like a photograph. For me, when you look at her work, it's above the photograph. So, and I like the fact that the space can embrace very easily, you know, two different styles without like intruding in one another.
We are fortunate to have two featured artists with us in person today who will be featured at the Christine Fauchard Gallery during the month of March. So, Annette, I want you to tell our audience, your full name, where you're from, and how you began to paint.
Okay. So my name is Annette Poitot, and I'm French, and it's true that Poitot is very difficult to pronounce. I met Christine, the connection is because we're French, and I've been with Christine with a long time, since perhaps 10 years, something like that, yeah.
And where did you meet?
So, in fact, she contacted me because I was French and she loved my work. So that's how we started. But you were also asking me...
How did you begin? When? How old
Oh,
were you?
yeah. So I started to paint, in fact, when I was little. And I studied 10 years in art school. So I'm really happy I did all of that. Yeah. But I find my technique by myself after I studied. I graduated from Paris, from the school Les Arts Décoratifs. And I also got a scholarship to go to Cooper Union in New York. And that was awesome because, in fact, I started to realize that's how I wanted to do my work. It's in New York. But I really finished it when I was gone. That's really when I started to know how I was going to do my work.
Yeah, so,
my technique.
And you were in New York for how long?
Just for a year.
1 year
Just
in
for
New York
a year.
City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a couple of your pieces.
Yes.
Okay, so your pieces are large.
Right.
Mostly.
I love working big.
You love working
yeah.
big. There are some smaller pieces here.
Right.
As well. Mm-hmm. When you talk about your art, tell us a little bit about how you begin the process of maybe say this piece that's a green, blue piece. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because I have a vague idea of the composition of the work I'm going to do, but I don't know exactly how it's going to involve, and that's for me very important because if I know exactly it's like completely different than somebody who does realistic. I'm really working more like a musician, like as
Improvisation.
exactly.
Yes.
So I have the composition idea. I start with a brush stroke with a lot of oil on my brush, like here, for example. And after I thin my oil, I prepare very carefully, and I balance the way I prepare my oil, and I pour. After that, I pour on the canvas.
And the
I
canvas is
usually
on
it's
the ground.
Yeah, and so I work on the floor. I
She
forgot
works
to say
on the
that.
floor,
Right, I work on the
yes.
floor. It's not on an easel like traditional way. I work like a little bit like Jackson Pollock on the floor, and I pour and I move gently the canvas together to blend the colors. But it's very thin layers on top of each other. So, and because it's oil, it takes a long time to dry. So I do one paintings, let it dry, start another one, and go back when it's dry. So I do multiple pieces at the same times, but focusing on one.
Yeah. So behind us, we have one that's greens and blues. This piece is a little bit more bold, in a sense, the colors, huh? Tell us
Yeah.
about this, and tell us a little bit about your color choice and how that goes for you.
Right. So yeah. So the colors. It's true that I decide, a little bit before. But so when I start with one colors, when there is some chemical reaction as soon as I put another layers, because it's really about drying process. So like this, for example, where I make something very natural, that's chemical reaction. It's not with a little brush. And I'm looking for that. When I paint, I'm looking for something magical happening, like very organic. And yeah, so that's how I start to, evolve.
Beautiful. And we were talking just a little bit ago about how people react to the paintings and how they remember things with the paintings. Talk about that for people.
Right. So it's true that, they're abstract at the beginning, but after they become, some of them become more like landscape or more organic, like places like you can imagine you've been, or in reality, like, you travel, and you see, you imagine,
You imagine a place sometimes,
where
and a
you've been.
space sometimes.
And that's also really interesting for me. It's really talking.
So there's a piece here that reminds me of Sanibel Island, where I just was, and then so many colors, but you do work in whites and black and white, yes?
Yes,
as well.
In fact, it's black and white, but it becomes more, because there is layers of different colors. Sometimes there is a little bit of blue, sometimes there is a little bit of purple, so it's not completely black and white,
Right.
but you can still imagine Iceland or winter, but it's for me there needs to be an emotion each time when you look at a work of my painting.
Christine, come say hello and just tell us a little bit about Annette from your perspective and why you love her and her art.
Hello. So yeah, I know Annette for many years, and she have had several shows, and I have seen her work evolving throughout the year. And I do like the fact that she has this flow of colors that turn into something that is very expressive. And at the beginning, her work was much more subtle, more organic, more, earth tones or water tones. And her last series is like wild, very bold,
Maybe more
bold,
like this here?
much more
Yes.
contemporary, and I love this exhibition. I think it's one of her best exhibitions. So, and we do have a relationship, two French pairs, so that's great. So this exhibition is called Clash because we are hosting two artists, one abstract painter and another artist, Cathy Koenig, that is currently in the gallery as well. We are lucky. That is going to talk about her hyper-realistic work.
have two artists who will be featured during the month of March, and Katie is one of the two featured artists. Her art is hanging just behind us right here, and there's a very familiar piece for Pittsburghers. It has to do with Heinz ketchup, yes?
Yes.
So Katie, tell us how you got started.
Sure. My name is Katie Koenig. I'm a local Pittsburgh artist.
Now, Koenig is
Koenig.
not how, spell it.
It's Koenig.
K-O-E, Koenig, okay.
I've been drawing and painting since I was really young. I told my mom when I was a little girl that I wanted to be an artist when I grew up, so I knew it was something that I really had a passion for my whole entire life. I studied illustration at Savannah College of Art and Design. After graduating and doing some freelance work, I told my mom I really missed painting for myself. So she encouraged me to start, and I began doing art festivals and local shows, and now I'm here.
And when did you come back to Pittsburgh?
In 2010.
Okay, so you've been here for a little bit. I think you might have a new addition to the family.
I do.
So you have your family's here, your
Yes.
husband, you have a new baby.
I do.
Yes. And let's talk about that husband and the inspiration behind one of the paintings that actually is hanging on these walls.
My husband is a Jack Daniel's drinker, and I love to feature foods and drinks that remind me of my loved ones. So I told him I had this idea to do a large Jack Daniel's painting, sort of looking through the glass and the whiskey at the bottle itself.
Yeah.
So he was thrilled that I needed to go buy a bottle of Jack Daniel's, and he got to drink it while I got to paint it.
There you go. And so what is left in the glass, he finished off.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about, specifically right here behind us, we have Heinz. We have two of Heinz, and I think you have Campbell's soup, and you have some other food. Why does food speak to you as an artist?
I think so many of our memories are surrounded by food because we share food with loved ones. So we have all of those happy, warm memories. Yeah. And of course, it tells a story of where we are, where we've been, where we grew up. So I started to think about the foods that have been popular in Pittsburgh that have been a part of my life. And of course, Heinz ketchup was one of them. So I like my work to include a little bit of a mess. And I thought this little ketchup packet would just be so quirky and fun. I like when things glisten, so I just squirted it out and really enjoyed painting it.
That's great. All right. And so the show that you have at the Christine Fauchard Gallery through March, tell everybody just a little bit about what they can expect if they come down here. Large pieces, small pieces, themes. Give us anything you'd like everybody to know about.
Sure. I have a little bit of everything size-wise. I have pieces as small as 6 by 6 inches and all the way up to 2 feet by 4 feet. I like to work in a wide range of sizes and subjects also. I have some classic fruits, and then I have some quirkier Campbell's soups and Pittsburgh images.
So I have seen Katie's work a few times at the art festival, and last year I was called as a jury of the art festival, and that time I knew it was time for me to offer Katie a show, and I was very pleased that she was available because I knew she was going through a big change in her life and just got a new baby, right? So her work is for me fascinating. It's not photograph, while it's better than photograph, because when you look at her painting, you smell the thing. It's almost like a three-dimensional thing. You feel like touching it. You feel like licking the surface. She's capable of painting food with so much charisma. It's unbelievable. And to anybody who will challenge her saying it's photograph. No, it's much above photograph. It's an experience you have to come to see it.
Yeah, you have to come to see it.
So she's a very talented artist.
So is this your first baby? Yes, this is the first edition. Okay, and will we be seeing paintings that might have to do with bottles? And are we going to be seeing new themes?
We may, yeah. He may inspire me somewhere down the line. Little goldfish crackers and juice boxes. Who knows?
Oh yeah, here we go.
All right, all right. Christine, would you like to say a word about any one piece in particular?
This is fascinating to me. It's my favorite one. It's simply an onion. But if we can have the, the light on the painting, it's just like almost translucent. You can see the different layer. The light work is amazing. I love the onion.
Okay, so we have a new addition, and tell us your baby's name.
This is Theo. He's 12 weeks old.
Hello, Theo. Oh, what do you think about the art? He's 12 weeks old and your first child.
Yes.
Yes. And so we want to welcome him to the world, and we're so glad to have both of you here today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Beautiful. He's a beautiful piece of art.
Thank you.
Great. We have a lot of wonderful things that you're doing in addition through the studio, yes, through the gallery, that I believe I heard there was some wonderful yoga here, yes?
Oh, so
Psychic?
okay. So
Talk
that's
about some of the other things
yes.
that you just
So we had a quartet from the symphony
Yes.
that came last month and performed a tribute of French musician. It was really a treat for me. We had like Saint-Saëns, Ravel, Debussy. So people were very pleased by the space, and the acoustic was fantastic, So then we are going to have another wonderful addition right here, Jessica Lee, on March 9 from 7 to 8:30, and it's going to be $20 cover charge because we are also having a reception, wine and food. And then every Friday I am hosting a psychic night from 5 to 9 o'clock, and I'm rotating the spiritualist coming into the place. So I have an amazing astrologer from New York. I have very good tarot readers, a medium, angel lady, and people respond very well to this. They start coming on a regular basis, and it's just like very friendly, and we like to help people to get better.
We have the opportunity to bring business into the environment, and we host business events for groups like the African American Chamber. We look to the future for potentially Catalyst Connection and the German Chamber, as well as some people from the community college to have events here to bring the business community closer to the art community. And that's really important.
Yeah, and Judy, talk a little bit about your inspiration with this building, this space, how you came to this from your past life.
Well, I always wanted to open an art gallery, but I didn't have curating skills like Christine, and my background was in industrial hydraulics. So whenever I sold my business, I wanted to move into the art field and hopefully connect environmentalists and people in the shale industry and in the drilling industry through art. And we did have, I think it was our second show maybe, was with Joaquin Navarro, who is an environmental artist that lives in the community. He's originally from Spain. He's married to Patrick Moore, who is the director of the Warhol. So that was like a little light opening up that maybe we can begin some conversation and reach out into the community in many ways. And I know, Jessica, you've done in the past these evenings with jazz, is it?
Jazz networking evenings where we bring people together, we have music, we have people talk a little bit about what they're doing in the community and how people can connect and help. And certainly we can talk about doing some of those together. I think the studio, the gallery is in a beautiful, beautiful spot. And for people who aren't familiar with Lawrenceville, maybe describe how you get here from downtown Pittsburgh, because it's very easy, right, to get here from downtown Pittsburgh.
You get on Butler Street, headed away from the Strip District.
Yeah.
And when you hit 51st Street, which is right after the cemetery, we're within that block. We're across from Standard Bank. So we have parking in the evenings. The parking lot is open to the public there, and behind the Standard Bank, there's a lot of public parking. So we're fortunate from that sense too.
Yeah, and talk about your website a little bit, Christine. Everybody can find you, yes, through your
Yes.
website and your hours and your events.
Okay, so the website is www.Christine, spelled with CH and E at the end, Frechard, F like Frank, RECHARD, gallery.com, and the hours are Tuesday until Saturday, 12 to 6, except Tuesday I close 1 hour early at 5. And then we rotate shows every 5 weeks, so it goes kind of fast. There is a lot of energy in that space, you know, and I like the 5 weeks rotation because then it creates, you know, more curiosity instead of letting the art sit for too long, and then we bring the customer or the art lover back. And
Now
so-
tell us about this special art patron who's sitting next to me.
Well, we have probably in this program, we have babies and now we have dogs too. This is Buddy. Buddy refused to leave us. He had to have his own chair, and now he won't even lift his head up for the camera. Hey, Buddy. Buddy. He won't do it.
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping.
He's part of the
Oh,
gallery.
here we
Oh, there he
go.
goes. Hey, Bud.
Hey,
Look at there.
There he
Look.
is. And he's often here, right?
Oh yeah, he's
When
here a
people come.
lot. I
Yeah.
mean, even whenever we had the
He's
people,
her shadow. Everybody is behind.
whenever we had the symphony people here, he was even here then. But he's very crowd friendly. So
Well, on Saturday, March 9th,
Uh-huh.
I will be here singing with guitar great Mark Strickland. We're
Okay.
very excited to be here.
Okay.
I think that Katie, one of the featured artists, will be here, maybe
Uh-huh.
to say a couple of words about some of her artwork that's hanging
great.
on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be fantastic. And maybe Buddy can be here to join us and sing a little bit.
oh, wow.
Tell us the highlights for the spring and summer, just a couple more.
So beyond the summer, so the 1st of June there will be a fundraising, Clearwater, Kenya, you know, to help buying water filter to put in wells in Kenya. So it's an important date to remember. And then I will have beautiful show with local artists, sculptors. The Society of Sculptors is coming. An artist from Italy, Pierluigi Slis, and then we will have a British photographer from the Royal Academy coming up in September. So great shows are coming. And hopefully more music, but we need to schedule and more event happening.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
Thank you.
community space, isn't it? It's a beautiful,
Yes, it is.
creative space for community.
Yes.
So now is the time for you to say to your French-speaking friends, come see us. So let's do
Ok,
that.
alors pour tous les gens qui parlent français, je vous attends ici. J'espère que vous viendrez dans l'espace. And for anybody who does not speak French, you are also welcome in this space. And I hope soon, because you will be surprised. It's a beautiful space and there is great art.
And there's great people.
Come to support the gallery and the artist and any other endeavor.
Thank you, everybody, for spending some time at the Christine Frechard Gallery in Lawrenceville, Pittsburgh, PA with us today. I really hope you make an effort to come down to 5126 Butler Street, see the art, see Buddy the dog, see the two wonderful creative entrepreneurs who you heard from today, Christine and Judy. And if you happen to be around on Saturday, March 9th at 7 o'clock, we hope you come down for some jazz and blues. I will sing for you. One of the artists will be here to talk about her art with you. There will be wine, hors d'oeuvres, and a beautiful feeling of community spirit. So join us. Please come to the Christine Frechard Gallery, a great creative space.